I'm Carol from Sunbury, Ohio.
I'm a Republican, but I don't care who does the job as long as the job gets done. That's why I like Sherrod Brown. He stood up to both parties on China and worked with Republicans to fight fentanyl because Sherrod fights for Ohio. That's leadership.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Welcome to the Two-Footed Podcast, your daily dive into the biggest stories and talking points from the world of football, with a particular focus on the Premier League. Before we get started, a quick shout out to our presenting sponsor, Liberty Shield. Liberty Shield is a VPN provider, and one of the many benefits of their service is that you can change your IP address to unlock geo-restricted content. And for Premier League fans like us, that means you can catch all the action no matter where you are. So if you use their UK VPN, that means you get all live matches on Sky Sports, TNT Sport, Amazon Prime, and the highlights with Match of the Day on BBC iPlayer. Furthermore, you can switch your location to the USA to access all those matches you may otherwise miss using American streaming services like Peacock and USA Network. If you sign up now, you can get 25% off by using the code EPL25OFF. That's EPL25 off at checkout for 25% off. That's whether you choose their VPN router or the software app for your favorite devices. Liberty Shield have got you covered. Oh, and don't forget, after today's episode, be sure to check out our shorter bite-sized pod, the Two-Footed Extra. That will keep you up to speed with all the latest news and gossip. And be sure to check out the other shows that EPL Index offers. Today was hugely enjoyable, a tad predictable, previewing every Premier League round with a different guest each week, where he really does put them through the ringer. You come off that show, I've guested on that show, you come off it, and you feel like you've been interrogated. It's a really good listen, though. There's also our new show, our roundup show. It's called The Final Whistle. It's hosted by Nina Kauser and Ben Poscod, and they summarise all the matches and the big talking points. It comes out every Sunday evening, so make sure you're listening. Now, let's dive in to today's biggest stories. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Podcast. Today is Monday. It is the 14th of October. Hope you're all well and had a pleasant weekend. The weather's decent. Got a decent weekend. Decent today. Yeah, can't really complain. It's a bit chilly, but can't complain. Right, let's get into what took place in the Nations League over the weekend, and then we're going to fill time with something fun. And it's fun for me, maybe not for you. Right, League A, Group 1 of the Nations League. Croatia beat Scotland by 2-1, and Portugal beat Poland by 3-1. Tomorrow, we get Poland, Croatia, and Scotland, Portugal. As things stand, Portugal are top of that group, with Croatia second and Poland third. In Group 2, France beat Israel 4-1. Italy and Belgium drew 2-2. That was a bit of a surprise. The Belgians coming from 2-0 down to get a draw there. Today, we have Belgium versus France, and we have Italy versus Israel. Italy remain top of that group with 7 points, 1 point ahead of France. In Group 3, Germany went to Bosnia and beat Bosnia-Herzegovina by 2-1. Dennis Undav, formerly of Brighton, with the 2 goals there. Great to see him doing so well. While it didn't work out at Brighton, it is yet more proof that their talent identification is streets above most people's. Let's not forget, they didn't just buy him at Brighton. They bought him for Union St. Gilloise and then moved him to Brighton. Didn't work out at Brighton, but he's done incredibly well since going to Stuttgart. He's flying this season, had a great year last year, and has been called up to the national team this year and has 3 goals in 5 caps. Hungary and the Netherlands played out a 1-1 draw. Germany are top, the Netherlands second in that group. And then finally, Group 4, Serbia beat Switzerland by 2-0, and Spain beat Denmark 1-0. Spain top, Denmark second in that one. In League B, in Group 1, we saw the Czech Republic beat Albania, Ukraine beat Georgia. We will have Georgia, Albania, and Ukraine, Czech Republic tonight. Georgia and the Czech Republic top in that group with 6 points apiece. I think that Georgian team, there's something fun about them. There's something I enjoy about watching Georgia play, and I don't know what it is, but the goalkeeper's really good, and Kvaratskhelia is really good, and Mikitadze is good, Chakvetadze is good. There's just some fun players in that team that I enjoy, so I'm looking forward to the game against Albania. In Group 2, we've had both sets of games already. Greece beat England 2-1. Ireland beat Finland 2-1. And then England beat Finland in Finland by 3-1. Jack Grealish opened the scoring. A stunning free kick from Trent made it 2-0. Trent playing left back for reasons. Declan Rice made it 3, and Huskinen pulled one back for the Finns. Greece beat Ireland by 2-0. It probably would have been about 6 without Caoimhín Kelleher, though he was to blame for that second goal. Greece top with 12 points. England second with 9. In Group 3, Austria beat Kazakhstan by 4-0, and Norway beat Slovenia 3-0, 2 for Erling Haaland in that one. Kazakhstan 0, Slovenia 1, and then Austria 5, Norway 1. Austria 5, Norway 1. Norway are still top of that group. They'd only conceded 1 goal in the 3 games before that. They beat Austria in Oslo back in September, but that was a shellacking. Norway top, Austria second, Slovenia third, but they do have the same points as both Austria and Slovenia. Austria and Slovenia also have better goal difference, but head-to-head ties, Norway have taken 6 points, Austria 4, Slovenia 1. So we'll see how this all plays out. In Group 4 then, we had Iceland 2, Wales 2. Brennan Johnson continues his incredibly good form. Turkey beat Montenegro by 1-0. Iceland take on Turkey and Wales take on Montenegro tonight. That is the final group in League B. So now to League C, where Estonia beat Azerbaijan 3-1, and Slovakia and Sweden played out a 2-2. Azerbaijan, Slovakia, and Estonia, Sweden tonight. Sweden and Slovakia both at 7 points, clear at the top there. Group 2, Kosovo beat Lithuania in Lithuania by 2-1. Cyprus 0, Romania 3 in the other game. Kosovo, Cyprus tonight. Kosovo heavily favoured to win that one. Lithuania, Romania, again, you would fancy Romania to win that one. Those games are tomorrow night. Romania 9 points, Kosovo 6, Cyprus on 3 points. Group C, Bulgaria 0, Luxembourg 0, Belarus 0, Northern Ireland 0. Belarus play Luxembourg and Northern Ireland play Bulgaria. Those games are tomorrow. Belarus and Bulgaria both have 5 points as they top that group. And finally, in Group 4, Latvia 0, North Macedonia 3, Faroe Islands 2, Armenia 2. Armenia 0, North Macedonia 2, really good result there. Faroe Islands 1, Latvia 1. So you've got North Macedonia with 10 points running away with the group. Armenia are in second place, Latvia in third place. Both have 4 points. but Armenia, I believe, Armenia are going to finish above Latvia based on the head-to-head. Where do we go next? Group 4, that's that one. So on to League D, Group 1. Gibraltar beat San Marino by 1-0, and then Liechtenstein and Gibraltar drew 0-0. Gibraltar are top of that group at 5 points, San Marino 3 points, Liechtenstein 2 points. And in Group 2, Moldova beat Andorra by 2-0, and then Malta beat Moldova by 1-0. So Moldova have 6 points, Malta have 6 points, Andorra thus far no points. Andorra still have 2 games to play though, and they play obviously both Moldova and then Malta in their final game. So that's where we stand with the league, the Nations League, as things are currently constituted. And to be honest, I'm not seeing many surprises. Like if we look at League A, Portugal, Croatia, Poland, Scotland. Portugal, Croatia would have been the obvious teams to pick out to advance. And thus far, that's what's happening. Scotland will be the weakest team. You'd favour them for automatic relegation. That's what's happening. Same thing in A2. Italy, France ahead of Belgium, and Israel as the automatic favourites to go down. Same thing in A3. The Germany, Netherlands a step above, and then Bosnia-Herzegovina the weakest team. I think A4 was probably the most balanced in terms of the smallest gap between best and worst, with Spain, Denmark, Serbia, and Switzerland. We all would have expected Spain to advance, but I think you could have gotten decent odds on any of the other 3 to go to the quarterfinals or get relegated. Our top scorers thus far in League A, Dennis Undav and Cristiano, both have 3 goals. In League B, Benjamin Sesko leads the way with 4 goals. In League that's League B. League C then, Razvan Marin, David Strelic, Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak all have 3. And finally, in League D, hang on. In League D, we don't have anyone stepping out on their own. We have 6 different goal scorers, all with 1 goal each. Sensoli of San Marino, Walker and Scanlon, and Brito, all of Gibraltar. Satlam of Liechtenstein. Actually, the other goal scorer was an own goal by Nicholas Hasler. So own goal in the tied race there for top goal scorer in League D. I don't really like the Nations League. I think it's just an unnecessary way of getting around people's complaints about friendlies and stuff by making it seem like these are now competitive games and they really matter. But ultimately, nobody's fooled by this. Nobody's looking at winning the Nations League as a major trophy. You know, I think Cristiano Ronaldo would like you to believe it's a major trophy, but it's not. Like, it really isn't. Likewise, you don't see the French celebrating having won it in 2021. You don't see the Italians, the Spaniards celebrating having won it in 2023. And whoever wins it this time, unless it's Portugal, you're not going to hear them celebrate. Like when Croatians list off the accomplishments of their golden generation, they're talking about second and third at World Cups. They're not talking about runners-up in the Nations League. The Italians aren't celebrating 2 third-place finishes. England might celebrate a a third place finish, given how scarce things have been. But, ultimately, they've been to multiple finals at recent major international tournaments, and those will be far more important and impressive, ultimately, than this. Like, when Southgate walks in for an interview, he's not walking in and saying, well, I got third in the 2018-19 Nations League. He's going to talk about the European Championships. He's going to talk about the World Cup. This is just largely a waste of everybody's time. And this is UEFA trying to find more money. That's all they're going to care about is more money. Because UEFA don't care about the fans, they don't care about the players. All they care about is how much money people are putting in their pockets. We have also had, of course, some South American qualifiers for the World Cup. Bolivia beat Colombia by 1-0. Ecuador and Paraguay played at a 0-0 draw. Venezuela and Argentina, that one ended 1-1. Brazil went to Chile and came from one behind to win the game by 2-1. And then in probably the biggest upset of the round, Peru beat Uruguay by 1-0. Now, we do have 5 games tomorrow. Colombia versus Chile, Paraguay, Venezuela, Uruguay, Ecuador should be a great one. Argentina, Bolivia, and Brazil against Peru. Right now, Argentina are top. They are 3 points clear. They have 19 points. 3 clear of Colombia, who are 1 clear of Uruguay, who are 2 clear of Brazil, who've lost 4 times, it's worth pointing out. They're 1 point clear of Ecuador and Bolivia. They both have 12 points. Venezuela currently sit in the playoff spot where they wouldn't get automatic qualification for the World Cup, but would go into the Interconfederations playoff. But they're only 1 point ahead of Paraguay, so that's still tight. Peru and Chile look a little bit hopeless. However, we've just had match day 9. There is 18 match days to go. So plenty of time for all of this to change. And we'll see if it does change much between now and when the World Cup gets ready to kick off in 2026. Let's have a look, see what else is going on. So close that. What am I doing? Why am I opening that? Sorry, let me just open this properly. Right, in Asia, in the current stage, which is the first round, in Group A, this is in Africa, in the first round, we have Group A has Egypt top, 4 points clear of Guinea-Bissau, who are a further point clear of Burkina Faso and Sierra Leone. Ethiopia and Djibouti make up that group. Sudan top Group B, ahead of Senegal, Democratic Republic of Congo, Togo, South Sudan, and Mauritania. Group C has Rwanda, South Africa, and Benin all on 7 points. Lesotho on 5. Nigeria massively underperforming on 3 points, and then Zimbabwe on 2 points. Group D has Cameroon top with 8 points. Libya, Cape Verde both have 7. Angola 6. Mauritius 4. Eswatini have no points. Group E, Morocco 9 points. Niger and Tanzania 6. Zambia 3. And Congo none. Group F, Ivory Coast have 10 points. Gabon have 9. Burundi 7. Kenya 5. Gambia 3. And no points so far for the Seychelles. Group G, Algeria and Mozambique both have 9 points. Botswana, Guinea and Uganda have 6 points each. No points for Somalia, but that's a very even group so far. Group H has Tunisia on 10, Namibia on 8, Liberia 7, Malawi 6, Equatorial Guinea 3, and Sao Tome and Principe, no points. In Group I, Comoros have 9 points, as do Ghana, Madagascar 7, Mali 5, Central African Republic have 4, and Chad have no points. So only the top team gets automatic qualification to the next round, and then the 4 best runners-up from the 9 groups go into that as well. So that'll give us 12 teams. That'll give us 13 teams advancing. As things stand, Gabon, Ghana, Mozambique, and Namibia are the best runners-up. Asian qualifiers. We are at the 3rd round of the Asian qualifiers. 18 teams split into 3 groups of 6. In Group A, Uzbekistan and Iran both have 7 points. UAE and Qatar both have 4 points. North Korea have 2, though their people believe they have 27. And Kyrgyzstan have 0 points. In Group B, South Korea and Iraq lead the way with 7. Jordan have 4. Oman 3, Kuwait 2, and Palestine 1. And in Group C, Japan lead the way with 9 points, looking very comfortable. Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain all have 4. And Indonesia have 3, no points thus far for the Chinese. In CONCACAF, so North America, obviously the big 3 have all qualified. Mexico, Canada, and America as hosts. So we're left with 6 groups of 5 teams in the second round. Group A, Honduras and Cuba are currently the teams that will qualify to advance to the next round. Costa Rica and Trinidad Tobago from Group B. Curacao and Haiti from Group C. Nicaragua and Panama from Group D. Guatemala and Jamaica from Group E, and then Suriname and Puerto Rico from Group F. And then, finally, in the Oceania, 2 groups of 4. Now, obviously, Australia will be by far the strongest team in the Oceania, but they take part in the Asian tournament. I assume because it's a much higher level of competition and they feel like that strengthens them more, which is fair. I kind of feel like New Zealand will be well served to maybe go and try and do that. It might boost their, might boost the level of interest if they're playing against better competition. Anyway, 2 groups of 4. In Group A, New Caledonia and Fiji both have 3 points. Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea have no points. In Group B, Vanuatu have 3 points. New Zealand have 3 points. Samoa and Tahiti have no points. And that is where we stand with all of it for now. But these will change drastically. Right, we're going to go to break. We'll come back and I'm just going to start pricking around, really. So I'll see you in a sec. Right, welcome back. So what I decided I was going to do today, because there's nothing going on, like there's nothing funny to even talk about, which is greatly disappointing to me. Thomas Tuchel might be in talks with the FA over the England job. There's nothing funny about that. Thomas Tuchel's a really good manager, and I think he'd do really well with England. Like, I genuinely do, until he falls out with them all. But at club, at international football, you'd wonder if his incredible ability to fall out with people will be diminished. And rather than falling out with them within 18 months to 2 years, he somehow lasts 3 to 4 years, in which case he could actually win something with England. Like, he could win a major competition. He is easily good enough to do that. He's one of the best coaches in the world. He's also one of the best knockout managers in the world. Like, for one-off games, for specific opponents, you won't find many better than Thomas Tuchel. A lot of it depends on which Tuchel turns up. Is it the brave, adventurous, attack-minded coach that we saw at Mainz, at Dortmund, and initially at PSG? Or is it the more defensive-minded, agricultural Thomas Tuchel that finished off the tenure at PSG, that went to Chelsea, and that went to Bayern. Now, ultimately, that guy, the agricultural one, won a European Cup. Now, I'm not going to give him credit for winning the Bundesliga because Dortmund bottled that to... It's one of the all-time choke jobs, Dortmund throwing away that title. I'm not going to give him credit for winning the title with PSG because ultimately everybody who orders a Happy Meal gets a free toy. But he did win the European Cup with Chelsea, with a bad Chelsea team. A lot of talent, but a bad team. Now, the Thomas Tuchel that managed Dortmund was sensational. We'll talk about it another day. If something occurs out of this, if he does actually end up getting the job, we can talk about it a bit more. But the people have forgotten just how exciting those Dortmund teams were. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is we're going to do some combined 11s, because why not? So we're just going to go by league position. So first and second, third and fourth, fifth and sixth, seventh and eighth, etc., etc., etc. And because it's early in the season, and because the table's a little bit all over the place, I think this will give us some interesting combined 11s. Because, for example, Fulham are eighth. Fulham Newcastle combined 11 could be interesting. Likewise, United are 14th. A Bournemouth United combined 11 is interesting. So let's start out then at the bottom. Let's go with teams in 19th and 20th. So, goalkeeper. Ultimately, Aaron Ramsdale is the flashier goalkeeper and the one that cost more money, but I would rather have Sam Johnston. I think Wolves made the right decision, pulling the plug on the Ramsdale deal and signing Johnston. Ramsdale has a higher ceiling, Johnston has a lower floor. So we're going to go with Sam Johnston. Fullbacks, Kyle Walker-Peters at right back, Rayan Aït-Nouri at left back. Don't think that's in any way controversial. Central defence is tough because there aren't really any that I like other than Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Now, I do like what Bella Kotchap could be, but he's not getting any opportunity. So, and I don't think he's going to play for Southampton ever again. So we're not going to include him. I think Mosquera is the best centre-back that Wolves have now with Kilman gone, but he is injured and facing a long time on the sidelines. Do I factor in injuries or not? I'm going to say I don't, because I just don't want to tax my brain that much. So I'm going to go with Harwood-Bellis and Mosquera as the centre-back pairing. In midfield, Wolves have a significant advantage, I think, in midfield. So I'm going to go Lemina, João Gomes. Do you know what? We'll go all Wolves. Lemina, João Gomes, and Andre, with a nod of the hat to Matheus Fernandes, the young midfielder at Southampton, who I think is very, very talented. I'm going to go with the Wolves trio. In attack, then, I'm putting Dibbling in because I just think he's outrageously good. So I'm going to go Dibbling. No question that Cunha is going to be in this because he's ridiculous. I think Strand Larson. So Dibbling right, Cunha left, Strand Larson as the 9. That gives me Dibbling, Harwood-Bellis, and Walker-Peters from Southampton, and 8 from Wolves. Johnston, Mosquera, Aït-Nouri, the 3 boys in midfield, and 2 up front, Strand Larson and Cunha. And I think that's fair. Right. Ipswich and Crystal Palace are next. Oh, and manager, I don't really like either of the managers, but we'll go Gary O'Neill. I'm not a big fan of either, though, if I'm being honest. Ipswich and Crystal Palace manager is Glasner. As much as I admire McKenna and think he's going to be absolutely top drawer, Glasner's the proven quantity. We're going to go with him. Goalkeeper is Dean Henderson. There's no real need to go into it much further. We're going to stick with 4-3-3, I think, just as a blanket formation across the run of all of these. Right backs, I'm going to go with Daniel Munoz. Left back is Tyreek Mitchell. Centre backs, Mark Wehi. And I think I'm going to go Jacob Greaves. I think I'll go Jacob Greaves. I know he's had a couple of ropey moments so far, but I'll go with Jacob Greaves. Lacroix, I still need to see more to show that he's back to the level he was at a few years ago. He's been very, very hit and miss the last 2 seasons. I'm going to go with Jacob Greaves for now. In midfield, I'm tempted to just go with the Palace 3 of Wharton, Doucouré, and Eze. And that's, I think, what I am going to go with. In attack, I'm going to go Omari Hutchinson, Mateta, and Jack Clark. Or will I play Liam Delap? Could I play Liam Delap on the left of the front 3? It's my team, I probably can. I'll go with Liam Delap. So we get, 3 Ipswich players in? Delap, Greaves, and Hutchinson. And the rest are Palace. And again, I think that's fair. Leicester City versus Everton. Now it starts to get a bit more interesting. Leicester have a lot of Premier League players in their squad. The other 2 that have come up, not as many. Southampton obviously sold quite a few players when they went down, and they've had quite a bit of turnover. Leicester City versus Everton. Pickford is the goalkeeper, but I think he's just a little bit better. I would prefer Hermanson, but we'll go with Pickford. Fullbacks, Ricardo Pereira and James Justin. I think that's clear. The centre-backs would be Tarkowski and Branthwaite without question. In midfield, don't really love any of the midfielders here. I'm going to put Dwight McNeil in the midfield 3, though. So he'll be 1. I think Ndidi as the 6 is fine, so we'll go with him. I'm going to go with Harry Winks as the 3rd midfielder, I think. Yeah, we'll go with Winks. Vardy is the 9. I'm going to go Iliman Ndiaye off the left and Fatau off the right. So for Leicester, we have Pereira, Justin, Winks, Ndidi, Vardy, and Fatau. So 6 to 5. The manager, I'm going to go Sean Dyche just over Cooper. So out of 12, it's 6 and 6. It's the closest one so far. Bournemouth versus Manchester United. The manager is Iraola. It's not even up for debate. Goalkeeper, Onana or Kepa. We'll go Onana. Right back, I'll go Delo. Left back is Kirkes. Centre backs, I'll go Lenny Yoro, even though he hasn't played yet. I'm going to go Lenny Yoro. And it's one of the Bournemouth centre backs for me. I think it's Huijsen that is the one I would go with. So I'll go Yoro and Huijsen. Nice young centre back pairing to develop. Midfield, Ugarte, Bruno's in. So who's the third one in midfield? I'm inclined to go with Alex Scott. I'm going to go with Alex Scott. In attack, Højlund up front, Rashford off the left, and Semenyo off the right. So Bournemouth get the manager. They get Kirkes, Højlund, Scott, and Semenyo. I think that's fair, if I'm being honest. I do think it's fair. I know United fans all agree, but I do. I think it's fair. I think Alex Scott starts for United. I think he's a better player than Kobbie Mainoo at the moment. I also think he's a better fit than Kobbie Mainoo next to Ugarte. I don't like the Ugarte-Mainoo idea at all. I just don't see it working. I think off the ball, they want to do similar things, and on the ball, neither of them are good enough at picking the ball up off the centre-backs and passing it through the lines. I think Alex Scott can excel at that. And I think long-term, that's what he will do. So I'm going to go with him. And there's no argument for me against Semenyo or against Kirkes or against Iraola. The only other one then is Højlund. And United fans will try and gaslight you into believing that Martinez is some sort of great centre-back, and he just isn't. He's actually, as a centre-back, he's terrible. But he can pass the ball well, so congrats to him. Maybe you stick him in midfield next to Ugarte. Maybe that's the play. And maybe that is the play for United. Maybe that should be what they do. Last one before we go to break is Brentford versus West Ham. We'll go Thomas Frank as the manager. Areola is the goalkeeper. Left back, I'm just picking, as I said earlier, everybody fit. So I'm going to go left back, Rico Henry. Right back, Wan-Bissaka. Centre backs, Todibo and Kilman. Even though it hasn't started well, West Ham just haven't started well. I think they're going to be good together. Midfield, Norgard or Alvarez. I prefer Norgard. I think he's just more understated and reads the game better. So I'm going to go with Norgard. We'll go Janelt and we'll go Paqueta. And then the front three, I'm going to play Mbomo right, Bowen as the 9, and Kudus off the left. So I want to get them all in. So for Brentford, you get Frank, Henry, Norgard, Janelt, and Mbomo. So you get 5. West Ham gets 7. Is that right? 3 in defence plus the goalkeepers, 4. 1 in midfield and 2 up front. Yeah. So 7-5 West Ham advantage there. So Wolves with the advantage, Palace with the advantage. Leicester-Everton was equal. United with the advantage over Bournemouth. And West Ham with the advantage over Brentford. And we'll take a break and be back with the next 5. Right, welcome back. So we are powering through, and next up is Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest. This is not going to be nice for Forest. The manager is Ange. The goalkeeper is Vicario. The right back is Porro. The left back is Adoiji. The centre backs are Romero and Van de Ven, with acknowledgement that Murillo is outstanding. The midfield, again, everybody fit. I'm going to go Matar Sarr and Danilo. I'm going to take Gibbs White over Maddison. The front three, Son on the left, Solanke through the middle. But I'm going to take Elanga over. Now, look, Kulusevski's a better player than Elanga. But as a winger, As a pure winger, I think I prefer Elanga. I think Kulusevski's better in central areas. So I'm going to take Elanga. So Elanga, Gibbs White, and Danilo from Forest. So actually, 9-3 Spurs advantage. Newcastle against Fulham. Goalkeeper, I think I'd take Leno over Pope. Right back, Livramento. Left back, Lewis Hall. Although Anthony Robinson, left back, Anthony Robinson. Central defenders, give me Joachim Andersen and Sven Botman. Midfield, Gemerish, Joelinton, and Tonali, I suppose, individually the three best. I prefer Iwobi to Joelinton, to be honest. I'm going to take Iwobi. Yeah, give me Tonali, Gemerish, and Iwobi as the midfield. And then in attack, Isak is the 9. I really like Rodrigo Muniz. And I'm tempted to pick him wide. Then I want both Harvey Barnes and Emile Smith-Rowe. Put Harvey Barnes on the right and Emile Smith-Rowe on the left. The manager, I'm taking Marco Silva over Eddie Howe. I think Marco Silva is really, really good. I think he could do, if given the opportunity, he could do what Emery does to a good level. So I'm going to go with him. So Silva, Robinson, Leno, Iwobi, and Smith-Rowe. So 5 for Fulham, 7 for Newcastle. Villa and Brighton then, 5th and 6th. The goalkeeper is Emi Martinez. The right back, it's not great options here. Centre backs, I'm going to go Konza and Pau Torres. So right back, I go Matty Cash. Left back is Purvis Estupiñán, but could I take Kadioglu and play him right back? Because he has played there and he is right-footed. So I might do that. I might go Kadioglu and Estupiñán as the full-backs, Konza and Torres as the central defenders. In midfield, Boubacar Kamara, Amadou Onana, and I'm going to put João Pedro as my 10. Mitoma off the left wing. Morgan Rogers off the right wing. And Ollie Watkins up front. So Watkins, Rogers, Kamara, Onana, both centre-backs, and the goalkeeper. Plus they have the better manager. So I've got 8 from Villa and 4 from Brighton. Both full-backs will be Brighton, Kadioglu and Estupiñán. The 10, João Pedro, and the left winger, Mitoma. I think that's fair. Don't need as much to complain about there. I think Brighton have a bunch of players that would be next in line in certain positions. This one will be good. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Raya is the goalkeeper. Reece James is the right back. Calafiori is the left back. Right side centre back. I think if Fofana hadn't had the injuries, he would be the one, but it is Saliba. I think Fofana had a higher ceiling as a pure defender. Saliba is a better footballer, but I think as a pure defender, Fofana had the higher ceiling, but he's had such horrific injuries. Left side centre back is Gabriel, but in time, it's going to be Levi Colwill. But for now, it's definitely Gabriel. He's the best centre back between the two clubs. So we have in the back 5, 4 from Arsenal, 1 from Chelsea. Midfield, Odegaard. Caicedo. And then it depends on what you want. But I'll go with Rice. Enzo's a better footballer than Rice. But I don't think you could go Odegaard and Enzo in the same midfield three. I think Rice would just be completely overrun. Yeah, we'll go Odegaard, Caicedo sitting, and Rice left side goal box to box. Front three, Saka, obviously. I'm going to play Nkunku on the left and Cole Palmer as a false 9 type. He has to be in the team. So for Chelsea, they get Palmer, they get Nkunku, they get Caicedo, and they get Reece James, and that's it. And the rest is Arsenal. Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, and the manager is Arteta. I don't think there's anything scandalous about that. So I think you could use Palmer in a very similar way to how Arsenal use Havertz. He's not as good in the air. He's better on the floor. He's quicker. He's a better finisher. He's a better passer. He's got better instincts. Havertz hasn't been developed well at all. It's a shame. He's still a good player, but he's not as good a player now as he was 4 years ago, before Chelsea got their hands on him and started messing him up. And then the top two is Liverpool and Manchester City. The manager is Pep, so that's that. Goalkeeper is Alisson, no question. Right back is Trent, no question. Centre backs are Konate and Virgil, there's no question. The left back is Gvardiol, there's no doubt there. In midfield, it's Rodri, obviously. I think it's Bernardo Silva and Alexis McAllister either side of him. I think that's the midfield three. And then it's Salah, it's Haaland. And I know he doesn't necessarily like playing on the left, but he has to be in the team, so it's Phil Foden. Foden, Haaland, Rodri, Bernardo, Gvardiol, and Pep. So 6 each. And I do think that's accurate. Where I think there's a gap between them is that the 6 Liverpool players who don't get in versus the 6 City players that don't get in, I think that City group is stronger. And I know I left out KDB. I understand that I left him out. But it was him or Bernardo. Because I know some people do this and they put they look at a midfield and they go, okay, well, we'll go Rodri and then KDB and Foden. That midfield is going to get absolutely rinsed by any good team. You have to have balance. Bernardo and Alexis give me balance. That's the most functional team. And let's be honest, if Pep Guardiola could have him, he would jump at the opportunity to have Alexis. City's players that aren't getting in are of a slightly higher level than the Liverpool players that aren't getting in. City also have, like I said, a better manager. And their style of play is more conducive to keeping the players on the pitch for longer. They're not... Klopp was running this team into the ground and he was dealing with injury after injury after injury because of his own way of playing and his own emphasis on how hard Liverpool had to work off the ball. Pep's team work hard off the ball, but he just tells them to keep the ball. If you keep the ball, you don't have to work hard off it or as hard off it because you're not running for as long. I think that would be an unbelievable team. An absolutely outrageous collection of footballers. If Julian Alvarez hadn't been sold, I'd be making the case for him as the 9. Not because he's a better striker than Haaland, But as an all-round footballer, I think he would be a better fit. Because again, fit matters. But it is Haaland. Like, let's be honest, it's Haaland. So, yeah, Salah, Haaland, Foden, I think that works well. Because you can flex that into a 4-4-2 with Bernardo wide right, Foden wide left. And that can be you're out of possession shape with Rodri and Alexis in the middle of the park. That defence would be ungodly. Absolutely ungodly with Trent and Guardiola as the fullbacks. I mean, the defence and goalkeeper and 6, plus the right winger and the 9, they are indisputable picks. There are 3 positions where you can make an argument. And the manager's an indisputable pick. There's 3 positions where you can have conversation. The 2 flanking midfield roles and left wing. And that's it. Everything else picks itself. And I don't think Alexis is actually all that disputable. I think if you rank midfielders, central midfielders, Alexis is number 2 behind Rodri. I think he has to be in, which leaves the 1 attacking midfield spot and the left wing position. So I don't think I'm being biased in suggesting that those Liverpool players would be in, because the 2 positions that are debatable, I'm giving them both to City. Now, Liverpool don't have... I mean, Sabozlai is really good, but Liverpool don't have a real claim on that 3rd midfield spot. It's going to be KDB or Bernardo. But I have to have Bernardo. If you want to put KDB and you can put Bernardo left wing, I have to have Bernardo in. I think he's one of the best footballers in Europe. And in that left wing position, I'm picking a non-left winger over Liverpool's left wingers who are better than City's left wingers. Like Diaz and Gakpo, I think, are better than Grealish and Doku. Doku has the highest ceiling. But Diaz is the best player of the 4. And I think I would rather have Gakpo, who actually can produce, over Grealish. I know Grealish offers, good ball retention, can carry the ball well, and wins a ton of free kicks. But I'd rather have Gakpo. I'd rather have Diaz than him and Doku. Yeah, I think that's a fair team. I think on the pitch, Liverpool have a hair of an advantage. But the biggest advantage for now is Pep over Klopp. Now, when I say on the pitch, I'm talking about the players that I've picked, not the team versus team. But Pep over Arne is the biggest gap. I think that's a good team. Ali, Trent, Konate, Virgil, Gvardiol. That would be incredible. Genuinely incredible. With Rodri in front of them and Alexis by his side. Then the front 4 can be whatever you want it to be. If you really can. You're not conceding any goals with that 7-man block in place. But I think Bernardo, Foden, Salah and Haaland is fair. And that's going to do it. Right, I'll be back later today with 2-footed extra. See you in a while.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.